Hello everybody and welcome to the third part of What If Naruto Was Hashirama's Son. I hope you enjoy this what if. Also don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest episodes. Chapter 5, Closer Together, Plan Set. As Kushina and Naruto walk around Yuzu, they chat about their past a little, which makes emotions go every which way. Some of the older residents recognized Naruto and quickly ran off to spread the word that Hashirama's son has returned. By day's end it was sure to be spread around the entirety of the village. So let me get this straight, you and Mito screwed up on a seal which made both of you peer into the future, you got a fox in your gut, and the reason you look 18 is that you put yourself in stasis for the last 50 years. Naruto nods, yep, that about sums it up. I may look 18 but I am as wise as an old man. Kushina chuckles, well, since you divulged a serious part of you past, I guess I will go next. She sighs and steels herself, for the secret Kushina was about to spill was heart-wrenching and basically the reason why she became Uzukage. This is not easy for me to retell, so please bear with, it involves why I became Uzukage in the first place. Naruto nods and puts a hand on Kushina's shoulder to reassure her. Thank you. I once had a lover who gave me that love in return, though he was a bit stubborn at first. Anyway, him and I got off to a great start and was about to get married and have a child, but that's when the Third Shinobi War broke out and my world crumbled around me. Flashback, Third Shinobi War. Hold the line, don't let IWA get past us. Kushina yells out. Clangs of sword against sword are heard with the screams and stench of the dying. Blood ran like a river on the field, making red mud. Jutsu of various elements rained down upon each side, causing mass destruction. The sealing prowess of the Uzumaki bolstered their own jutsu and managed to redirect others toward the caster. It was an all-out jutsu and kenjutsu frenzy, and both sides seemed to be at a stalemate. Kushina ducks under a slash of a katana and kicks out the man's knee, making him buckle. She follows up by ramming the blade through the man's left eye and out the back of the head. After kicking the body off, she backflips to avoid a pillar of earth intent on impaling her, then rushes forward in an attempt to push Yuzu and its forces forward. A yell at the flank makes her curse. Kushina Tashu, our forces in the flank is falling. If reinforcements don't arrive soon, we might not survive this day. Kushina makes chakra chains fly out from her body, grabbing opposing forces and flinging them like they were made of paper. Some she crushed while others she impaled. Keep pressing onwards, we have no choice but to hold off. For UZU. For UZU, the other forces reply back with gusto. The battle rages on for another 10 minutes, Yuzu forces were starting to dwindle and all hope seemed lost when Kushina spotted a yellow flash in the distance, followed by a scream of someone dying. She smiles, knowing that they were saved, and others soon knew that to be so as they saw a salvo of tri-pronged kunai fly through the air and land in the midst of the enemy. Soon flashes of yellow were seen all around, with the splash of blood and scream from the dying enemy. All of Yuzu and the other forces cheered, seeing the yellow flash in action. Within minutes the flashes stop and the massive IWA force was nothing more. The battleground goes quiet for the first time in what seemed like hours. Kushina flicks the blood off her katana and sheathes it, then runs up to Minato but notices he is having a hard time staying on his feet. Kushina soon knows why as she catches him in her arms. Minato's body was littered with deep cuts and bleeding profusely. He was also breathing hard due to chakra usage and blood loss. Kushina cries, seeing her soon-to-be husband in this state. Come on Minato-kun, stay with me. We can get you healed up. Minato smiles and looks up at Kushina. He puts a hand on her chin. No, I am too far gone. That last battle was more intense than we first realized, and I used too much chakra helping you and your forces out. Minato coughs up a massive amount of blood and his eyes start to glaze over. Now in full tears, Kushina cries out, don't you die on me, Minato. We were going to have a family. Please, I can get you the help you need. Coughing and growing weaker by the moment, Minato motions for Kushina to get close, which she does. In a raspy voice, Minato speaks his last words. Promise me to live on with your life and find a person like me to marry and have a family with, one that we couldn't have. Minato coughs out more blood, his eyes getting cloudier by the second. Kushina tries to form the words but cannot, and with his last bit of energy kisses her on the lips, then perishes in her arms. Kushina couldn't take it and cried to the heavens as the remaining Yuzu forces and the Konoha ones from the last battle all gathered round the grieving Kushina, in which they grieved with. Flashback end. Naruto was comforting a crying Kushina with a hug and an occasional rub on her back. "SHH, it's alright Kushina, you can let it out and I am sorry for your loss. If you want someone to help you get over this then maybe I can be the one to help." "Smooth, try to get her on a date while she's grieving, like that's going to work." "Shut it Kurama, watch and learn though I do feel bad taking advantage of this situation." Kushina looks up with red puffy eyes and sniffs. Really, you would do such a thing for me? Others have tried but I couldn't even stomach loving any of them." Naruto smiles and looks down upon her 5'4" frame. "I will try and maybe I am the one Minato was talking about." "But you're 68 years old." Kushina wipes his tears as Naruto chuckles. "Only in mind my dear, I am but just an 18-year-old kid." Kushina smiles, "But I am 25, does that not seem a bit odd to you?" Naruto shakes his head. "All sake ripens with age Kushina, and you are no exception." Kushina punches Naruto in the arm playfully with a blush. "You teaser you, fine, I will try a date with you once and see how it goes." Naruto splutters. "A date? Oh come on." "Ha. Told you it would work." Naruto mentally laughs at Kurama's grumbling. Kushina smiles. "What, I thought that's what you were implying Naruto-kun." She purrs at the end making Naruto blush. Naruto laughs nervously. Okay, fine I will go on a date with you to see how it goes. I got 2 weeks here after all." "Yay." Kushina happily states, her sadness all but gone. The two look around now noticing that a crowd gathered around them, both turn red as a tomato and quickly shun Shin out of the area making said crowd burst into laughter. With Team 7, Zabuza, and Haku. Kakashi was talking with Zabuza inside as Team 7 and Haku was training out in the backyard. Now that both former enemies were on their side, Kakashi had no idea what to do. "So, as we help Tazuna finish this bridge, what do we do about Gato?" Zabuza smirks underneath his bandages. "That fat fuck. Well, I bet by tomorrow he will be ranting and raving about how Tazuna is still alive and might hire some more missing nin." Kakashi deadpans. "Great, I guess he might send thugs after his family as well. What do you think Naruto?" The wood clone forms out of the wall scaring the shit out of Zabuza making Tazuna and Tsunami, whom were sitting at the dining room table, chuckle. "When'd he get here?" Zabuza yells holding his heart. "You almost gave me a heart attack." Clone Naruto chuckles. "Oh, me I'm just a clone, boss is still at Yuzu. Anyway, I can guard the house at any time so no worries there and Sasuke is out training and luckily restraining himself from catching the forest on fire." Kakashi nods. "How's his attitude though?" Clone Naruto shrugs, talks to himself about destroying me and his brother. "Kakashi-sensei, I demand help." Kakashi and Zabuza groan and see Naruto's clone meld back into the wall. "I guess I will help Sasuke as he won't shut up until I do, at least Naruto will be watching over me just in case." Zabuza nods. "Seriously, his attitude reminds me of the rumors I heard of Madara." Kakashi gives a stern glare to Zabuza, and that is what Naruto and I are trying to avoid. Come along if you want to see a beating. "Oh, goody, I love seeing a person being put in his place." Naruto's clone, which was in the wall, sweat drops at Zabuza's 180 attitude and decides to watch over to see what Sasuke wanted Kakashi to do. As Kakashi and Zabuza was walking out to the backyard and Yuzu Anbu Shunshins in front of them making both go on guard. "Hold, I am not your enemy. Are any of you Kakashi of Team 7? Kakashi lowers his guard and steps forward. "Hi and you are?" "Anbu from Yuzu. I have orders from my Uzukage to give you this mission statement, you will all be paid accordingly." The Anbu holds out the letter which Kakashi takes and reads it over and I smiles. "Thank you Anbu-san, tell the Uzukage that we will take the mission." The Anbu nods. "Hi, also Naruto-sama gives his regards." "Thank you Anbu-san, I will need it." The Anbu Shunshins just as Team 7 and Haku congregate around Kakashi and Zabuza. "Who was that Kakashi-sensei?" Sakura asks. "Mission from the Uzukage, she wants us to take out Gato and his men. I hope you are ready for real ninja work because this will involve killing." Sakura pales and looks worried but Sai puts a reassuring hand on her shoulder making her smile. "Sakura might have issues about it but I will make sure she is protected." Sai states, making Kakashi nod. Sasuke smirks, knowing he would get his wish at killing more people, while Haku and Zabuza have the light bulb go off in their head, which Kakashi notices. What's got you all giddy? Well, remember that we once worked with Gato. We can go inside and convince him that Wave is going to make a rebellion. If that ANBU indicated anything, I'd say that Yuzu is here to give aid to them. Haku finishes for Zabuza. Gato's forces will run into ANBU and Naruto's clone, which means that your team has less killing to do. I know that look when some people are not ready. Kakashi scratches the back of his head and hums, I think that would work out nicely. Well team, I suggest preparing for this. Zabuza, Haku, how much time do you need? I would say about 4 days, but the problem will be showing that Tazuna is taken care of. Zabuza responds. Clone Naruto melds out of a tree, freaking everyone but Zabuza and Kakashi out, which makes him chuckle. Although I'm a clone, I could make a faux Tazuna that will talk in his voice. Once you give Tazuna to Gato, behead my clone when he orders to. I can keep up the clone to make it look realistic. Haku, Kakashi, and Zabuza nod, and everyone watches in wonder as multiple branches of wood forms off of the clone's right side and soon turn into a replica of Tazuna, sake bottle and all. How's this? Clone Tazuna tests out his voice. Meh, too high. Sakura states. The clone lowers his voice, one with a drunken slur, I am the super bridge builder Tazuna, and I expect super protection. Sasuke slightly smirks while everyone else bursts into laughter. Oh ho ho, that is definitely it, damn Gaki, you're good. Zabuza chortles. Clone Tazuna takes a swig of his bottle and stumbles towards Zabuza, which takes the bottle and smashes it on the ground, bursting into wood splinters. Another one soon forms and the clone takes another swig. Ye never going to get my sake. Zabuza and Haku shake their head while Haku comments on the clone's breath, you even smell drunk, Kami, let's just go and get this over with. Kakashi nods and the Tazuna clone salutes, then follows Zabuza and Haku to Gato's hideout while Kakashi claps his hands and turns toward his team. Time to get training. Tsunami interrupts, time for lunch. Right after lunch, Kakashi finishes and motions for his team to head inside. Konoha, Hokage Tower. A hawk pecks at the window, which Sarutobi opens and lets the hawk jump onto his hand. He sees a message attached to its right leg and takes it off, then motions for the hawk to go, which it does with a quick call. Sarutobi closes the window, then unrolls the message and begins to read. Dear Hiruzen Sarutobi or Hokage-sama. I am currently at Yuzu with Kushina Uzumaki, the current Yuzukage. Before coming here I fought Zabuza and won a bet in which he and his accomplice Haku joined Team 7 to help Tazuna out. Zabuza gave me information about Yugura and the Bloodline Wars. Come to find out, Yugura holds the three tails and my tenant says that his actions are not normal. I write to you for permission to go to Kiri and help retake it while attempting to get Yugura on Konoha and Yuzu's side via treaty contract. Please respond back soon. Naruto Senju. Sarutobi puts down the message and chuckles lightly, it never is easy with you around in Naruto. Well, with Yuzu already on our treaty, Kiri wouldn't hurt. I wonder if Wave will think about one as well, doesn't hurt to ask. He pulls out a piece of paper and a pen and starts to write back. The message would reach Yuzu by day's end to give Naruto the response he needed. Good luck Naruto, I give you the best of luck with Kiri and the three-tailed beast. I wonder if I should ask Jiraiya to come back to update me on what he found with his spy network. The Chunin exams are coming up in 8 months and it's best to be prepared. He finishes with Naruto's message and starts on one for Jiraiya, hoping the information he would find out is good. He also wonders if the next book of a certain series was soon to come out. After a few minutes, he finishes with the last message and calls a couple hawks and ties the messages to them, then sends them out. Sighing to himself, he props his feet on his desk, opens a drawer, and pulls out an orange book and some tissues. You dirty Keiko-chan, you, asterisk perverted giggle, asterisk. With Zabuza and Haku, Gato's office. Zabuza and Haku come into Gato's office with clone Tazuna in tow, which plays the part of looking drunk and nervous. Gato, who is sitting behind his desk, smirks and claps his hands. I knew you two would do well, now we have to take care of the part of the bridge that was already built. You will not put your grimy hands on my bridge. Once I die my village is sure to rise against you, Gato, I promise you that. Gato glares then smirks at clone Tazuna. Ah, well, I will be sure to send my condolences to your family and quell this uprising before it starts. Leave my family out of this. Zabuza, be a kind soul and shut this drunken bastard up. Zabuza nods and chops the clone on the back of the neck, knocking him out. It being a wood clone makes it stay intact. Gato then turns to both and asks about this uprising. Is this uprising true? I highly doubt they would dare challenge me and my personal army. Haku nods his head. Some villagers saw us with Tazuna and started to spread the word that their icon was stolen and that they would gather forces. It was a white lie that hopefully Gato bought. Being the money-hungry and overzealous man that he is, Zabuza's and Haku's fears were quelled. How long? And I told you to be discreet. Zabuza clears his throat. I am not sure, Gato, but I would guess in 4 days that they would have a group big enough to severely cripple your men. Gato smiles. Good, then I will take 3/4 of my force and train them so that they can raze the village to the ground and kill everyone in sight 4 days from now. As for Tazuna, put him in a holding cell with no light and view of the outside world. We will execute him before my men head out. Our agreement, Gato. Surely you have not forgotten our monetary compensation. Zabuza growls out. Gato grumbles under his breath but unlocks a small safe underneath his desk and throws 2 bags of currency toward the 2 which they catch. I will have my men watching you and expect both of you to participate in raising wave in 4 days. You are dismissed. Zabuza and Haku nod while they exit the office and head to the dungeon to put Tazuna's clone in a cell per Gato's instructions. The clone gives a thumb up and a wink to both, which they give a smile in return. Gato, what a sick fuck he is, to think I actually agreed to work for him in the first place. Leave a village to rot by sucking them dry, and once done with them you raze it to the ground, killing men, women, and children. I will have fun flaying your flesh from your body once I get my hands on you. Zabuza angrily thinks. 4 days later, Yuzu. It's been 4 days since Naruto got the letter back from Hiruzen giving him the go-ahead with his side mission. It was also 4 days since he had a heartfelt reunion with Daisuke and Kenshin. Both were quite old, and even though they wanted to spar with Naruto, who explained to them why he was so young and why he went missing, their elderly frame would not be able to handle the stress. Naruto, Kenshin, and Daisuke all decided to head to lunch and reminisce about the past while Kushina went back to the Hokage Tower to do more paperwork. Thanks to this meeting, Naruto had a better understanding of what to expect in this era and how things have changed since he sealed himself. The reunion lasted for 3 hours, but it was time well spent. Currently, Naruto was getting ready for his date with Kushina, which Kurama still couldn't believe happened. He was given a room in Kushina's estate for the 2 weeks he would spend here. As Naruto got dressed in his black dress pants, blue dress shirt, and black shoes, he felt something deep inside of him, a connection of sorts to Kushina. He wanted this feeling to last and hoped the date would go well and for many more to come. A knock on his bedroom door interrupts his thoughts. Naruto, are you ready to go? Kushina asks from the other side of the door. Just a moment. Naruto responds back as he finishes tying his shoe, then opens the door only to blush at what Kushina was wearing. Dressed in red and white skirt with a top to match that revealed her slightly large assets and sandals, Kushina was drop-dead gorgeous. Add that her long red hair was in a high ponytail and that her purple eyes were sparkling, it only added to Naruto's blush. Striking a provocative pose, does Naruto-kun like what he sees? Naruto splutters then grins, very much so. Let's go, Kushina-chan. He offers his hand, which Kushina takes, and both walk out of the home and head off to a restaurant of Kushina's choosing. As they were walking, the villagers smiled at the sight of Kushina going out with Hashirama's son and wondered if he would be the one to make their Yuzuki's life complete again. Restaurant. As the two enter the restaurant, the greeter instantly recognizes the two and picks up 2 menus and motions for them to follow. Kushina and Naruto are eventually led to a private room where there is only 1 table meant for 2. The table is covered in a white cloth with a vase of roses in the middle with 2 candles off to the side. Silverware and place settings are on either side of the table while romantic music plays in the background. After the two take their seats, the greeter hands them the menus. Take as much time as you need and your waiter will be in soon to take your orders. Have a wonderful time. After looking through the menu, both eventually decided what they would have, and just in time as the waiter came in ready to take their orders. Hello, my name is Hiroshi and I will be your waiter today. Are both of you ready to place your orders? Naruto nods, thank you Hiroshi-san. I would like the gyudon, stewed beef, donburi and a bottle of your finest sake. Hiroshi writes it down and turns to Kushina, and for you Yuzukage-sama. Kushina is fine and I would like the sashimi with a side of rice please. The waiter writes that down as well. Anything else Naruto-sama, Kushina-sama? Kushina smiles and looks at Naruto whom smiles in return. Nothing else Hiroshi-san, you may place our orders. Said person nods and heads out of the room to do as told as Kushina and Naruto look at each other, both wondering who would break the ice first. It was a tense 2 minutes that seemed to last forever, but Kushina decided to speak up first. So, I've been meaning to ask, what were the warring states like to live in? I have only heard stories from Karen when she was still alive and read some accounts from the history books. Naruto sadly frowns. It's not an easy thing for me to explain as the things I had to do still haunt me to this day. Kushina smiles and puts her hands onto Naruto's. If you don't want to talk about it, it's alright, I can understand. Naruto shakes his head. No, I cannot keep this side of me bottled up. Like my father told me, don't dwell in the past as the future is much brighter. Well, here I am in the future and it is a much brighter time from the era I came from. Kushina sadly nods and takes her hands off of Naruto's, then points to his scar. You can start about telling me about that scar of yours if you want. Naruto takes a finger and traces the scar going down his right eye, which stopped at the chin, then sighs. He goes into the explanation about what he and Hiruzen had to do that day and how he became overconfident in his abilities, earning him the scar and luckily keeping his eye. Naruto also explained other skirmishes in which he was ordered to massacre entire clans that threatened Konoha and other allies as well. Naruto explained everything in gruesome detail to how blood ran like a river and how the stench of death seemed to always linger in the air. Kushina instantly felt saddened by what she had Naruto do. I'm sorry I had to make you relive some painful memories. I can see now that losing Minato was not bad at all, seeming you had to go through so much more. Please don't say that losing Minato was not that bad. He was your first and only lover and I can tell you still care for him. And I thank you for making me get this burden off my chest. I feel lighter and more happier than before. Naruto quips with a jovial yet serious tone. Kushina nods and smiles lightly, then feels something within her, a feeling of connection, one that Naruto had before leaving together. What is this feeling? I haven't felt such a thing since Minato and I got together. Could it really be? Can I finally achieve Minato-kun's final wish? Her thoughts are broken by the waiter coming in with the food and sake, which make Kushina and Naruto smile. Here are your meals, please enjoy. If you need anything just ask, and I will be glad to help. Naruto nods. Thank you Hiroshi-san. After the waiter leaves, Naruto pours a glass of sake for him and Kushina. They make a toast to Minato and down the sake before filling the glass again and setting them on the table. Over the course of the meal, Kushina and Naruto both fed each other while having some small talk about the past and also what plans were for the future. Laughs are had, the meal was satisfying, and the sake all but gone. As they sat next to each other resting after a good meal, they grasped hands once again and enjoyed the relative silence as they looked into each other's eyes with a slight blush. Soon though, Naruto paid for the meal and both headed back home to retire for the evening. I really had a good time tonight Naruto, and I think that you may be the one Minato was talking about. Kushina states, holding Naruto's hand as they walk back home. Naruto shakes his head. Please don't rush into things. I know Minato meant a lot to you, so I will give you all the time in the world for you to decide whether I am the one or not. If it's not meant to be, then such is the way of life. We will continue on, yet our bond will last in friendship. Kushina sadly nods and sighs. Yeah, you're right, it's just I feel this connection of sorts to you, one I have not felt since I met Minato. I don't know if it was a fluke or just me going on a date for the first time in many years. Naruto opens the front door and leads Kushina inside with him following. Just think about tonight Kushina, I won't dishonor Minato's final wishes to you, so take your time, I will be here forever waiting. Kushina smiles and pecks Naruto on the cheek, making him blush. Thank you Naruto-kun, I have a lot to think about. Good night. Good night Kushina-chan. With Team 7 and Kakashi, Tazuna, Tsunami, Inari, and Team 7 were all sitting at the table going over the plans for the raid that would commence at the break of dawn. Just as Gato's forces would move into Wave, Naruto's Tazuna clone sent back the information which he then relayed to Kakashi. In these 4 days, Inari got a good talking to about suffering and living in the past by Naruto. Now Inari insisted on calling him brother, which made Naruto laugh and feel warm inside. Also during this time, Naruto decided to talk to Sai about what Danzo actually taught Sasuke and what his potential plans were. Sai gave an explanation to the best of his abilities, but some answers he did not have at the moment. Flashback, 2 days ago. Clone Naruto was watching Team 7 spar and saw Sasuke use what looked like the beginnings of Madara's unique taijutsu style. Seeing this, it was time for some answers and only one person knew them. Sai, can I talk to you for a moment inside? Sai stops his spar with Sasuke and turns to Naruto, then had to duck under a cheap shot. Naruto shot a glare at Sasuke with some ki which made him back off. Sai thanks Naruto and follows him inside where a barrier seal is put up. What do you need, Naruto-sama? Information, Sai, about what Sasuke's training entailed. I need to know whatever you know before trying to straighten things out. Sai shakes his head. That might be impossible to do since he has your father's DNA, which is rumored to give Sasuke what Madara had near the end of his life, the Rinnegan. Naruto's eyes widen and steps back in shock, the eyes of the sage. Impossible. Sai shakes his head no, and to make it worse, Danzo is trying to find out how to activate it so that his training can be up to the next level. Hell, he is even setting something up to where Sasuke can get the Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto finishes with anger in his voice, which would further his path of hatred. Damn it, Danzo, just what are you planning? Do you want to hear more, Naruto-sama? Naruto laughs. Sure, what can be worse than I already heard? The fact that he is commissioning someone to make Madara-like armor and his weapons, and he's told Sasuke to grow out his hair so that in time he resembles him. As to his plans, I have not gotten that far into my investigation. Naruto palms his face and groans, great, just great. So let me get this straight, Danzo is having Sasuke get taught what Madara basically had in his arsenal, as well as molding him into an almost carbon copy of the guy. Sai nods, yes, and I suggest having Anbu trail him once we get back from this mission. I fear his hate will only escalate in time, and if his MS awakens, then Kami help us all. Naruto takes a deep breath and smiles. Both knew it was a facade to hide the true emotion within. Thank you, Sai, you are a most valuable asset, and offer my hand at working with you to take Danzo down. Sai shakes Naruto's outstretched hand. I will accept your offer, Naruto-sama. When I joined Root and the Sandaime found me after a failed mission, he had his students Jiraiya and Tsunade help. One healed me while the other took the controlling seals off, though kept false ones in place. Danzo has undermined your father's village and will gladly stand by and help you raise it back to its heyday. Naruto smiles with tears in his eyes. They were not of sadness but one of happiness. Thank you, Sai, a great ally you will be. Flashback end. Sai breaks from his thoughts and turns to Kakashi with a smile, noticing that he was looking at him. Sai, were you even paying attention? Sai smirked and decided to have a little fun. You say something, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi's sweat dropped while Sasuke smirked and everyone else broke out into laughter seeing Kakashi's own words used against him. Kakashi clears his throat. Well then, I guess I will have to go over these plans again as Sai was. Sai interrupts again, lost on the road of life. Kakashi glares at him as snickers are heard from Tazuna's family and his team, as well as Naruto, who was merged with the wall. Will you quit that? Kakashi reprimands, then takes a deep breath. Like I said before I was interrupted, here is what we are going to do. Chapter 6, Taking Back Control. The sun was beginning to rise in Konoha and people were starting to wake up, though one person has been up for a while doing what he hates the most. A tap on the window alerts Hiruzen and breaks him from his paperwork. He glances over and smiles. Sarutobi opens the window to let a man with long white hair and red lines down his face into his office. Jiraiya, you made good timing. Well, when your letter sounds that urgent, I had no choice, sensei. What seems to be the problem? Sarutobi sighs and leans back in his chair, then sets up a barrier seal. As you know, Sai has become my personal spy en route and tracking Danzo's movements. Up until now, when my old friend Naruto came back, Danzo lied low and only trained his men. A switch seemed to flip in his mind or something, seeing a powerful Senju living again, and acted, dragging Sasuke into his program. Jiraiya strokes his long white hair and takes a seat across from Sarutobi. How bad can it be? I know Sasuke holds a lot of hate towards his brother unless Danzo did something I don't know about. He did do something worse. Sarutobi takes the 2 files Sai copied and handed them to his old student. Go through those and see what I mean. As Jiraiya reads the files he pales then grows angry. Why haven't you acted on this sooner? Don't you think I know that? Sarutobi yells out, look, Danzo manipulated Sasuke into hating Naruto after he got a beating from said person. I don't know how, but he managed to get Hashirama's genes and inject them into Sasuke, and not only that, he is molding him into the next Madara. I was scared to act, Jiraiya. I didn't know how to go about apprehending Danzo without possibly starting a civil war in Konoha. Sasuke possibly becoming the next Madara is scary and all, but you're the damn Hokage, so become the title that you once were and march in there, kick ass and take names. Sarutobi sighs, look at me, Jiraiya. I'm 68 years old and lost most of my power thanks to the Civilian Council pulling a fast one as I grew soft. Yes, Naruto and I rectified that, but the power I once had is just not up to par like it once was. Jiraiya sadly smiles, then let me help you, sensei. I can take a break from my spy network for a while and help you gain that power back you once had. Taking down Danzo is only the first step in a lengthy process. Sarutobi smiles, if that is what you wish then I will not stop you. Any help this old monkey can get would be greatly appreciated. I'm getting too old for this shit. So, about Danzo then, how would you like to go about this? Jiraiya smiles, show the fire daimyo the evidence which will give you permission to execute on sight, then put his name and abilities in the bingo book. If Danzo is like you say he is, then if we execute him, who knows if that was the original or not. Sarutobi nods, but wouldn't that take days to accomplish? Yes, but in those days I can secretly enter route and gather incriminating evidence and other important things while planting explosive tags around the base, that is if you have the layout of the place. Sarutobi smiles, I see what you are doing, shake the man from his territory and once approval comes through we cut the head of the problem off and then finish the job by destroying the base. That might work, but what about Sasuke, what do I do with him? Wipe his memories. Jiraiya responds without hesitation, wipe his memories and seal off his bloodline. Sarutobi's eyes widen, isn't that a tad bit extreme? Jiraiya shakes his head, no, we will not have another Madara form in this day and age. This is the only solution to that problem, sensei, and deep down you know it. Once sealed, we will give him training and guide him down the right path. Sarutobi picks up his pipe and lights it with a quick-fire jutsu, then puffs on it. You know me too well, my old student. I will give the fire daimyo what he needs, and Sarutobi unlocks a hidden compartment in his desk and pulls out a map of the root base and hands it to Jiraiya. That map is not completed and is a rough estimate of what the base is like. Be careful, Jiraiya, we do not need Danzo knowing our plans. Said person nods, thank you, sensei. Anything else? Sarutobi shakes his head, no, you are dismissed and thank you, Jiraiya. Anytime, sensei. Tsunade and I will always be here for you. As Jiraiya walks out the door, Hiruzen looks down upon his village and cannot help but sigh as a feeling of dread washes over him. With Team 7 and Kakashi. Kakashi and his team jump from tree to tree heading out to do their side mission, eliminate Gato and his followers. The plan was simple, go in just as Zabuza, Haku, and most of Gato's forces left to raise wave and clear the building of all hostiles, and then Gato himself. Tazuna, however, added to that plan and decided to stage an actual rebellion instead of the faux one that was originally used to entice Gato into action. He would do this as Kakashi and his team took care of their end. He knew the dangers but decided that freedom is well worth dying for. Tsunami and Inari felt the same way and decided to join. Team 7 stops on a branch overlooking the mansion and courtyard of Gato's domain. All were waiting for Kakashi to give the order, though Sasuke was having a hard time controlling himself and just wanted to make it rain red. Kakashi-sensei, look, there's Zabuza and Haku dragging out Naruto's clone of Tazuna. Sakura points in said direction. Kakashi nods, yes, and I see Gato wanted to boost morale before having his troops head out. I still wonder where Naruto's clone went though, I lost him when we left Tazuna's home. All look on as they see a short, rotund man come out to greet his troops and make a speech before they headed out. In the courtyard, Gato walks up past his troops and looks at Tazuna, who is down on his knees in an execution stance, then slaps his face a couple times. Wakey, wakey Tazuna, I wish I could let you see your precious bridge, village, and all that you hold dear to perish by my hands. Alas, I have wanted you dead for so long and loathe the thought of allowing you to draw one more breath. You may say any last words, though nobody would care to hear them anyway. Clone Tazuna, who now looks mentally drained, his clothes in shreds, and his gray hair unruly and unkempt, looks up at Gato and spits in his face. "See you in hell, you son of a bitch." Gato pulls a handkerchief from his coat pocket and wipes his face, then backhands Tazuna in the face with a growl, making blood trickle from a broken lip. "Zabuza, be a kind gentleman and execute this bastard before me, what do you say, men?" Chants of "kill, kill, kill" are heard from the crowd as Zabuza takes his zanbato and puts it under Tazuna's chin while his foot rests on his back. Gato gives the universal sign of decapitation, making Zabuza nod. He pushes with his foot while pulling the blade towards him, making a clean slice. Tazuna's head rolls and hits Gato's foot, who stomps on it, crushing it into paste. He is so excited that he doesn't see the lack of blood. "To arms, men, take wave down." Cheers are heard as 3/4 of Gato's force rushes onward with Zabuza and Haku trailing behind. They see Kakashi and Team 7's location and signal discreetly that they're up, which Kakashi signals back the confirmation. They jump from their spot just as they saw Gato head inside and clone Tazuna turn into wood and disappear underground. Wave Country. The village was peaceful at the moment as the Yuzu ANBU were handing out much-needed supplies to the populace like food, water, and clothing, as well as medical support to those who needed it. The ANBU also noticed that the healthy villagers were all on guard, like they knew something was going to happen that they didn't. It made them slightly uneasy, though the question as to why this was answered thanks to Tazuna. As Tazuna passes by the ANBU and waves to some of the villagers, his family behind him, he eventually gets to the center of town and clears his throat. "People of Wave, I have called upon you to take up arms and go against Gato, the man who has destroyed our lives for these past many months. In time, he will be sending his men here to raze our village to the ground. Well, what do you think about this? Will we let that happen?" At the start of the speech, the villagers were starting to congregate around Tazuna and his family with pitchforks, axes, and anything that could be used as a weapon. When Tazuna paused to hear an answer to his question, there was an instantaneous chorus of "No. Raise you weapons high, my people, the enemy approaches. We may die this day, but it is a great honor to die for our freedom. What say you?" "So say I," the villagers chorus, making the ANBU watching the whole ordeal smile behind their masks in awe. A war cry is heard in the distance and the ground slightly shakes. The trees ruffle as hordes of Gato's thugs approaches Wave. It's a force about 300 strong. The ANBU get ready and unsheath their issued ninjutsu and get in formation. The massive force, all dressed in black and carrying different versions of a katana, are seen bursting from the woods. A massive war cry goes out from the villagers and they rush forward, leaving the ANBU stunned for a moment, then they too join in on the fight. Swords clash against various weaponry and screams go out of those who are dying. The street soon runs red with the blood of the enemy and some of the villagers. The fight was just getting started and yet so much blood was to be had. Inari, who came to the town center with his father's crossbow and quiver filled with bolts, managed to climb on top of a roof and ready a bolt. He looks over the chaos no child should ever witness, but the image of Kaiza, his father, was forefront in Inari's mind, so what he was about to do would be done without hesitation, without emotion. Inari takes a deep breath as he puts the butt plate in the soft spot of his shoulder blade, aims at a thug coming towards his mother, holds that breath, and fires. He watches as the thug stopped his deadly descent of his sword and fell backwards with the eyes rolled in the back of his head. The bolt pierced the forehead, dead center. The thug was dead before he hit the ground. Inari waves to his mother and cocks another bolt and does the same. This time, however, it grazes one thug's neck, severing his jugular, sending a massive torrent of blood outward, getting over any who was surrounding said man. The bolt continues onward and lodges itself in the Adam's apple into a thug farther back, severing his brain stem. He never knew what hit him. Tazuna lost his weapon soon after the battle started and picked up a katana of a fallen thug and tested it out. "Naruto used one of these and I don't see how hard it is to use it. All you do is swing away, I think." Tazuna ducks under a slash from a nearby thug but sees the same one follow up with a downward slash too quick for him to dodge. As he closes his eyes in defeat, he suddenly hears a clang and looks up to see an ANBU holding the blade at bay. "You seem to be having a little trouble here, Tazuna-san." The ANBU states, and was about to behead the thug when Tazuna acted on the distraction. Said man lunged forward and plunged the katana deep into the thug's stomach, then pushed downward, gutting the man. The ANBU was shocked at the ferocity and seemingly emotionless kill that this old man just took. Tazuna smiles as he sees the guts of his enemy fall to the ground followed by his body. He does not mind the blood that is over him, though he does notice that the ANBU was standing there with his head titled slightly. Is there a problem, ANBU-san? Cause I see no problem in front of me, all I see is freedom, for Wave. He yells as he rushes forward while other villagers chorus as well. The ANBU chuckles and shakes his head, remind me to never disrespect my elders. He mumbles, then gets back to work. The battle was far from over, but slowly but surely the thugs were being pushed back and freedom would soon be at hand. With Kakashi and Team 7. Kakashi and his team just entered the mansion and was going through room by room killing off anyone inside them whether they were sleeping or not. For Kakashi this was everyday business, for Sasuke this was a field day. Sai had Root to thank for his first kill, Sakura however was taking it the worst. She managed her first kill after much trepidation but seemed to break down almost mentally from that point on. Sai comforted her as much as possible, which helped but still didn't alleviate her fears. There were a few large scuffles, but all in all there was not many thugs left in the whole building. After an hour, all the rooms were checked except one. It had double doors and a man could be heard humming to himself inside. Everyone knew that it would be Gato, but just as they were about to burst inside and take him out, a scuffle is heard with some screaming, then all goes silent. Footsteps are heard coming toward the door and the handle is jiggled, making Kakashi and his team be at the ready. The door opens to show a smiling Naruto who waved at them. Hi everyone, sorry I decided to take the silent and unseen approach. Kakashi shakes his head, you have to stop using that melding thing, it really freaks me out. Naruto shrugs, well, come inside, I already got Gato wrapped up for ya and he has graciously given us his bank account numbers as well as the combo to his safe underneath his desk. Kakashi and Team 7 get in the office and sure enough, bound by tree roots to his desk chair, was Gato struggling to get free. When I get out of here I am going to kick all y'all asses, you hear me? I will kill every one of you. Shouldn't we kill him? I see no use for a weak fool like him. Sasuke states. Naruto shakes his head, no, we will let Tazuna and the villagers of Wave deal with that matter. Now, all we have to do is round up this money and disperse it to Wave, some to Konoha, and the rest to Yuzu, spoils of war. Kakashi nods his head and orders his team, well, let's get to it. After Naruto opens up the safe, take as much as you can so that we can deliver it. Hey! That's my money, get away from my stash you dirty bastards. Gato screams as Naruto bends down to unlock the safe. Naruto scoffs at Gato, then kicks the chair he is tied to, which falls over backwards and landing on the floor, furthering his struggling. Grah. You insolent brat, when I. Cha. Shut up. Sakura yells and punches Gato in the head, knocking him out. Geez, was I really like that at one point, a screaming banshee. Sai laughs, yes you were. He regrets saying that as Sakura cracks her knuckles and gives a predatory grin towards Sai and in a sickly sweet voice responds to his comment. Oh Sai, dare to repeat what you just said, I might have heard wrong. Sai throws up his hands in defeat and steps back as fast as possible, and no Sakura-chan, I said nothing, silly me. Sakura smiles and hears the click of an open safe and starts taking things out of it so that the monies could be distributed accordingly. Back in Wave Country. The village was in an eerie silence as the survivors of the epic battle look on and now just realize what they did. In front of them lay dismembered corpses of Gato's thug army mixed with the occasional villager. The ANBU saw the shocked look in the villagers' eyes and knew that counseling would be needed. Done for some, it would be a while until they returned back to Yuzu. Zabuza and Haku, who were hacking away at the flank of the army, sat underneath a tree taking a break with a smile on their face. I haven't had that much fun since I graduated from the academy. Zabuza cackles. Haku gags a little, I swear that moniker goes to your head as you definitely showed that today. Zabuza shrugs, meh, so what, it's what a shinobi, missing Nin, or not do for a living. 5 minutes pass without talk as both watched the ANBU start to clean up the mess from the past battle that lasted for what seemed an hour. The streets and some buildings were stained red with blood and the stench of death was in the air. It wasn't pleasant, but inside the villagers knew they were finally free. Zabuza and Haku looked to their right as they heard something coming, then laughed as they saw a tied-up Gato over Naruto's shoulders with Team 7 and Kakashi coming from behind. Well, I see you made quite a mess here, ugh, reminds me of the era I lived in. Naruto remarks. Hey, At least the villagers will be happy to see that you left Gato to get what he deserves. Haku replied. Naruto nods as Kakashi orders his team, Team 7, with me. We will be heading back to Tazuna's home to cook lunch for them and get cleaned up. Hi sensei. They chorus and head off. Naruto smiles and motions for Zabuza and Haku to follow him into the center of town, which they comply with. As he enters town, some of the villagers' frowns of their past events turned into a big smile once again as they saw the form of Gato knocked out and tied up. Naruto throws Gato to the ground, waking him up with a groan, then looks around and pales at what he sees. My men. You bastards destroyed my men. The villagers surround Gato and the ANBU back off, knowing this was personal. Cracks of knuckles are heard and sinister laughter fills the air. Many months of abuse. A villager cries out. You killed my son and husband. Another cries out. You left us to rot, then beat us while we were down. You must pay for your sins, the villagers proclaim and proceed to beat Gato into a bloody pulp. Wave was finally free. With Jiraiya, after leaving the Hokage office, Root Base. Getting into the base was relatively easy as he found outside decided to deactivate the Henge and Genjutsu detector seals permanently without Danzo or anyone else noticing. Now he was sticking to the shadows of the base, hoping to find something down here that would shed even more bad light on Danzo. Jiraiya looks at the map and sees that if he went right he would eventually arrive at a lab of some sorts and knew that any important genes used would be there. He hoped to grab any that could be used against Konoha in the future. As Jiraiya avoided patrols and having to knock some unconscious and drag them into a dark corner so that they wouldn't be noticed, he put a memory wipe seal on them so that they would not report that an intruder was here. He soon reaches the lab and quickly rummages around, sealing anything important. He found plans for some sort of chemical or poison, as well as notes on experimental enhancements, and finally on a shelf, all by its lonesome, was what he was looking for. He looks around again and quickly flees the scene. As he was on his way out, somehow Jiraiya managed a wrong turn and instantly knew as such when he heard two men talking in an office which was in front of him. Using the hiding with camouflage technique to blend in with his surroundings, he places a recording seal on the door in hopes of capturing the conversation. Office. How have things come with your new weapon, Danzo? If you mean Sasuke, then yes, his training is going quite well. I expect him to activate his Mangekyo Sharingan soon with what I have planned, and will up his training soon and manipulate him further so that I can get the next Madara under my thumb. Excellent, and the plans we have set for the Chunin exams are all in place as well, I take it. Yes, Sasuke by then will be completely under my control and will help me finally get what I always wanted in the first place. Sarutobi won't know what hit him, such a weak-minded fool he is. Naruto Senju will become a pest in which I will have to deal with soon, but that is my job, not yours, Orochimaru. You always were one to plan 2 steps ahead. Jiraiya rips off the seal knowing he had enough information to bring Danzo and his route down with this recording. He looks around, deactivates his jutsu, and pulls out the map trying to find his way out. After a certain distance he pauses and leans against a wall to check the map again, but falls backwards into another room, one that reeked of defecation and death. Jiraiya groans as he picks himself up from the floor and looks around, gasping at what he saw. 8 naked and severely malnourished bodies of what looked like young kids no older than 10 or 12 years of age, shackled by the hands and hanging against the wall. He knew that they had not long to live, so he cuts his hand and lets it bleed out, producing 8 similar-looking blood clones to take the place of the kids. Although lightheaded, Jiraiya closes the hidden wall so that it looks like nobody entered and started to unshackle the kids. When he got to the last one, a hoarse voice spoke up. Thank you, evil man, so hungry. Jiraiya sheds tears and lays the last child on the cold cement floor, then clenches his fists. Damn you, Danzo. I don't want to know what goes through that mind of yours. No matter, your reign will end soon enough. Jiraiya puts his clones up against the wall and shackles them like the kids he just rescued, then turns and creates 7 shadow clones to take 1 kid each. He hoped that Danzo did not put any seals to alert a use of a shunshin, but he had to take that risk. In 8 poofs of smoke, Jiraiya and his clones with the kids in tow all head to the hospital, hoping that they can all be saved. Hospital, waiting room. 8 poofs of smoke alert those waiting to an incoming shinobi, and all gasp at what they see in the Toad Sanin's arms. Some even tear up seeing a child in such a state. Medic, the 8 Jiraiya's proclaims, and luckily Tsunade got there first, gasping at the sight. Oh shit. She whispers and looks towards the doctors and nurses behind her and barks out orders. I want 8 IC units open for business this instant. We have no time to lose. We got 8 severely malnourished children that need medical attention ASAP. Geo. Shuffling is heard as nurses and doctors scramble to do as told as Tsunade motions for the Jiraiya's to follow in a hurried manner. Soon, all the children are set down on respective beds and hooked up to IVs and liquid foods as nurses run their diagnostic scans. Each of their prognosis is not good. Jiraiya, who dismissed his clones, was huddling on the floor by one of the IC rooms, covering his face with his hands and silently crying to himself, banging his head against the wall from time to time. Tsunade, who just walked out of one of the IC rooms, sees Jiraiya and rushes over to him. Jiraiya, please tell me who could do such a thing, and are you going to be all right? Does it look like I will be all right? Look what Danzo did to those kids. They were so malnourished I couldn't even identify their sex. Why Tswanda, why? Jiraiya yells out, slightly scaring Tsunade. Tswanda growls and was about to give Danzo a piece of her mind when Jiraiya grabs her leg. Don't, it would only jeopardize what Sensei and I are planning to bring Danzo down so that he could get his power back. Can you comfort me? I feel so lost and hopeless. Tsunade does as asked as Jiraiya starts to cry again, to the point where Tsunade does as well, all the while she thought about Sensei's old friend. I hope you get what's coming to you, Danzo, and Sensei, Jiraiya and I will stand by you not matter what. If I have to take up the reins someday, then so be it. I will follow in your footsteps, grandfather, granduncle, and if you become Hokage someday, Naruto, then I will support you fully, as will all of Konoha. Following day, Daimyo Palace. As the daimyo were in his office doing paperwork, his secretary comes in with a letter in her hand. An important message from the Sandaime, Daimyo Dano. She bows. Thank you, Keiko, you are dismissed. The daimyo orders after taking the letter. After Keiko leaves, he opens it up and starts to read, then unseals the documents on the bottom of the page and starts to shuffle through them. 20 minutes later, his face is as red as a tomato in anger. Keiko, get your ass in here. The door bursts open as said person scrambles inside and hurriedly bows. Yes, Daimyo Dano. Get my guard ready. I am heading to Konoha to help Sandaime Dano get rid of a cockroach problem. He sneers. Hi, at once, Daimyo Dano. Keiko hurriedly leaves the room and does as told. Thank you for bringing this up, Sarutobi Dano, and from what you described in your letter I see why you were scared to act. No matter, this situation will be dealt with once and for all. I wonder what Jiraiya managed to find evidence-wise. Only time will tell, I guess. Keiko comes in 3 minutes later. Your carriage awaits, Daimyo Dano, and your guard is all set. The daimyo stands and brushes the dust of his robes. Thank you, Keiko-san. You can do whatever you want for the rest of the day, and am sorry for yelling at you earlier. No problem, Daimyo Dano. I am quite used to it by now. Said person chuckles and ruffles her hair, then walks out of the office ready to give a certain mummy a piece of his mind. Konoha, the following day, Hokage office. The letter confirming that the fire daimyo was going to arrive came yesterday, hours after Sarutobi sent his letter. Today would be the day that Danzo would get his just desserts, but for Sarutobi, Jiraiya, and Tsunade this would be a day long remembered. All the pieces were in place and the evidence collected. The council was already in session waiting on the daimyo, Sarutobi, and Danzo to arrive. A knock on the door is heard. It was time. Enter. The door opens and a clack of a cane hitting the wooden floor was heard and the mismatched steps of a person stumbling in. You called for me, Sarutobi-sama. Danzo looks at Sarutobi, who is sitting behind his desk in a calm manner, then over to his left where Tsunade stood and to his right where Jiraiya stood. Something was amiss and Danzo felt it. Sarutobi smiles. Yes, I did, my old friend. Would you care to take a seat as we have much to discuss? He motions to the seat in front of him, in which Danzo hesitates for a moment, trying to figure out what was going on. Hesitantly, he soon walks forward toward the chair, but that's when everything went according to plan. Jiraiya runs through hand signs, putting up a multi-layered barrier so Danzo could not escape, while Tsunade tackles said man into the ground. At this point 2 ANBU dropped from the ceiling and slapped chakra cuffs on the dazed Danzo, as well as multiple seals, one to halt his use of chakra, one that temporarily shut his bloodlines down, and one to shut down his muscles so that he could not move an inch. Danzo soon gets out of his daze and roars, what is the meaning of this? Sarutobi finally stands from his chair and nods to Jiraiya, who lowers the barrier. A knock is heard on the door and one of the ANBU open it, letting the fire daimyo in, which made Danzo pale slightly. "Oh, it seems you already collected the cockroach, Sandaime Dano. Very well, shall we commence the trial, though I really doubt one is needed." "Let me go, I have done nothing wrong." Sarutobi bends low and gets in Danzo's face as Tsunade stands. "You thought me as a weak-minded fool when in fact I held the cards all along. Look at you, my old friend, chakra cut off, all those Sharingan you collected unusable at the moment, and you can't move a muscle, such a weak-minded fool you are." Danzo blinks, wondering how this was all possible, then growls, "Sai, when I get my hands on you, gra." "ANBU, let's take this traitor to the council and present the evidence, it shouldn't take long." Sarutobi orders and turns toward the fire daimyo. "Shall we go, Daimyo Dano?" Said person nods and the ANBU lift up Danzo. They trail behind their Hokage and daimyo while Tsunade and Jiraiya stand guard in the Hokage office. Many ANBU and off-duty shinobi were all on guard around the village just in case. Council chambers. The door opens, making the advisors and shinobi council see the Sandaime and fire daimyo walk side by side, and behind them two ANBU holding an incapacitated Danzo. Everyone smirks at seeing the old coot finally being put in his place. Sarutobi sits in between his advisors while the daimyo sits across the table from him. The trial was about to take place. "By the order of the Sandaime Hokage and me, you Danzo Shimura are charged with fraternizing with the enemy, child abuse, undermining a Hokage's rule, genocide, and multiple other minor infractions. How do you plead?" The fire daimyo speaks. "Fuck you. I will take that as a not guilty then, Sandaime Dano, if you would." Sarutobi nods and takes out a scroll from his robe and puts it on the table and unseals the contents. There is a thick folder filled with incriminating evidence, one for each clan head and advisor as well as the daimyo himself. He signals to the ANBU to help pass them out, which he does. "In those folders you will find all the evidence I and my spy collected over the months. This trial would have happened sooner, but I was scared to act and am glad I held off, as what Jiraiya collected in the past 3 days has been quite damning. You may read those at your leisure." A silent and tense-filled 30 minutes takes place as everyone goes over the evidence methodically, and soon everyone stares at Danzo with the intent to kill. What was about to take place next would seal Danzo's fate. Hayashi stands up. "You kidnapped some of my clan members and inducted them into your program. Stealing a Dojutsu or bloodline from any clan warrants immediate death. That said, I vote for public execution." Sum was next. "Luckily none of my clan members fell into your program, but what I read in front of me is damning to say the least. I hope you enjoy your stay in hell. Execution, I say." Shibi, a usually stoic and calm-hearted man, was royally pissed as everyone could hear his hive buzzing about. He stands, and as he does, a massive amount of Kakeichu explodes from his body, scaring everyone, even the fire daimyo. In a cold, dark, and chilling voice, Shibi rants. "I am usually a calm man, Danzo, but you have pushed me to a point nobody has managed to do. Do you know why we Aburame are always calm? It's because our hive reacts to our emotions, and right now I am having a hell of a time restraining them to eat the flesh from you bones. Fuck you, Danzo, go to hell where you belong." Shibi takes a deep breath and calms himself slightly, making his hive recede back into his body, making everyone else take a sigh of relief. Inoichi was next. "I would enter your mind just so I could fuck it up so bad that you would have spent the rest of your life in a padded room. Execute the bastard." Shikaka glares at Danzo. "You are a very troublesome man. Just execute him already so I can get back to my nap." Choza is so enraged that he couldn't think of what to say, so he kept it simple. "I call for execution. As clan head of the Sarutobi clan, I vote for execution." Sarutobi states. The advisors chorus together, "Execution." The fire daimyo nods. "Well, Danzo, it seems your life is at an end. Everyone here agrees that you are to be executed, and I cannot deny such a request after reading what is in front of me. Danzo Shimura, by the power invested in me, you will be publicly executed an hour from now. Sandaime Dano, you may announce this to everyone. I deem this trial officially over." Danzo just snarls and the ANBU escort him out of the room. When he was gone, Sarutobi turns to everyone and smiles. "Before we blow his base to where it cannot be used, I will be happy to let you know that we have successfully gathered all of Danzo's forces and they are now going through a program to where they can get back to some sort of normal life. Now, we might be having a small earthquake right about now. Sarutobi states, and sure enough a shaking is felt, making everyone smile and chuckle. Once the process is done, I will be happy to reunite you with lost family members. Like Daimyo Dano stated, we are dismissed. 1 hour later, town center. Danzo was tied to a post, the seals and chakra cuff still on him. Everyone was gathered around as they heard about the rumors of what Danzo did but never believed it. Now that a trial was done, everyone now knew those rumors were actually fact. The Sandaime walks up and clears his throat. Thank you all for coming out to see this traitor before you to be executed for his multiple lists of crimes which I stated an hour ago. Now Danzo, any last words before you will be beheaded and your ashes sent out to sea? Danzo starts to laugh. You think this is the last you'll see of me, H.A. I've always been 2 steps ahead of you, Sarutobi. I will return, mark my words, I will return. Sarutobi signals the ANBU nearest the post to cease Danzo's incessant laughter, and he does so with his ninjutsu. Blood spurts from the neck hole as the head rolls on the ground, Danzo's face forever etched in a creepy smile. The ANBU does a quick-fire jutsu, turning his body into ash. The village cheers and Sarutobi sighs in relief. Soon, I will have my power back, and Naruto's dream for this village to rise to what it once was will come to fruition. 1 week later, island in water country. Naruto stood on an island overlooking Kiri and wondered where Mei would be at. Kushina told him that it would be one of the islands, but there was so many to choose from. Speaking of Kushina, after their date things seemed to go downhill. 3 days after the date, Kushina told Naruto that even though a connection was felt, she wasn't sure if having the relationship going any further was a good idea. Naruto understood as she still clung to the love that Minato gave, and he knew that in time Kushina would be ready. Only time would tell if Kushina would come back into Naruto's life. He was broken out of these thoughts by someone yelling at him from a distance. Naruto turns toward the voice to see a slender woman in her 30s. She has green eyes, and ankle-length, auburn hair styled into a herringbone pattern at the back, a top knot tied with a dark blue band, and with 4 bangs at the front. 2 bangs are short, with one covering her right eye, and 2 are long, crossing each other on her bust, just below her chin. She also wears a long-sleeved, dark blue dress that falls just below the knees. Naruto smiles and jogs up. The lady you must be Mei. Kushina told me a lot about you. I am Naruto Senju, by the way. Mei taps her chin trying to figure out where she heard that name before, then gasps as the light bulb brightens. You should be 68 years old. Naruto laughs. Some things are better left unsaid, Mei. Would you be a dear and escort me to where you and the rebellion is stationed? Mei nods. Well, while we are there I guess we will discuss battle plans then. Welcome aboard the rebellion, Senju-sama. With you at our side this war will soon be over.